find a medium wide child's pose. And take your time coming into child's pose, maybe slithering the spine or wiggling the hips, nodding the head, whatever it is that starts to get you into your position here. And once you arrive, just feel the breath. Begin to apply Ujjayi. On the next inhale, let's rise up to all fours. And we're going to move through Chakravakasana with cat-cow. So we're going to arch up into cat and pull back to child's pose. And then we're going to inhale back up to all fours into cow. And continuing, arcing into cat to pull into child's pose. Inhaling up to all fours into cow. And moving slowly and deliberately as you come up to all fours the next time, let's pause. And we're going to do kind of threading the needle shoulder opener, but I'm going to show a couple ways to modify it. I know we have people with tight shoulders and maybe this isn't accessible for you. So I'm going to show you ways to make it a little more accessible for you. So you have a blanket, you have a block, and so if you happen to be one of those people that you can't get the shoulder down on the floor, you can come here with your shoulder or your arm on the block, right? Or that might be too high, and it also might be too hard. So if you come in and you're trying this out for the first time and you feel like the block is really hard, put your blanket on top of the block. Or you can take your blanket and slide your arm down onto the blanket. And if you're on the blanket, you can kind of play around so that your ear is on the blanket. This is probably a little more comfortable, but it just all depends on your flexibility. But this gives you less of a longer position, and it also may feel better on your neck. So you can try that out if you like. It may or may not work for you, but I wanted to give some possibilities. Otherwise, maybe you don't need it. And so we'll slide that shoulder down to the mat and just start to open here. And breathe that nice Ujjayi breath. If you want more, you can reach back If your right arm is down on the floor, you can reach back with your left leg. I like to do that because I feel like my side body gets a bigger stretch. And then you can release the knee to come back up. And pause in table position, just to balance and settle. And then move over to the other side. Maybe reaching back with the right leg this time, or the opposite side, whichever one you're doing. And then we'll release the knee, come back up, and let's do 5 cat-cow here. And then pausing in table position, let's go ahead and take that left leg up and back and do a little ankle roll here, both directions. And then pause at neutral position with the leg extended. The foot is kind of flointed, semi-pointed, and flexed. You're reaching back, you feel the tummy toned. And we're going to bend the knee, sole of the foot is parallel to the sky. And let's lift the sole of the foot to the sky, release to neutral. Lift and release. Three more. And then extend the leg out and release the knee down. Pause to adjust. Reaching that right leg up and back. Finding the tone of the belly, doing your little ankle roll here. Both directions. And then we'll bend the knee, sole of the foot parallel to the sky. Lift and release. Trying to keep the belly toned. Two more. Extend the leg out. Now we're going to step this leg forward between the hands. And as you do that, you may have to inch your toes toward the front of the mat. We're opening through the groin. And then we'll gently start to pull back and lift toward the foot towards straight. Again, this is one that you want to be really cautious with your hamstring. You want to be feeling it in that big, deep, beefy part of the hamstring. If you need to, you can use your block for balance. And then leaving the block, if you're using the block, I'm going to leave it here, and we're going to come back forward. And then we're going to pull back. So we're pulsating the pose here. Inhaling forward Exhaling back. Two more. As you come forward that second time, you can slide the block out of the way and step back to all fours. And let's do 3 cat-cow. And then pausing at table position, we'll step that other foot forward. So as you pull back, you're lifting the toes. As you come forward, you're just reaching forward. This side for me is a little more flexible. Storm, that's enough. I know. Shh. Must be some big threat out there. Perceived. I know. Good girl. Thank you. Thank you. I know. But we're going to stay inside and be quiet now. And then as you come forward the next time, you can move the block out of the way and step back to all fours. And let's do 5 cat-cow. No, Storm. Come on. Lay down. That's enough. No. Sit. Calm down. And then after your cat-cows, let's pull back to child's pose to where we began. And we'll inhale back up to all fours. At this point, you can choose to move into puppy pose or to downward facing dog. It's up to you. Taking your time to settle into your position, whether it's puppy pose or downward dog. Nice, strong arms. Sitting bones moving back toward the back of the mat. Shaking out the head and neck. Ears are between the biceps. You can either inhale to all fours and help yourself into a forward bend, or you can walk forward from downward dog toward the fingertips toward the toes to find your forward bend.
Inhaling, long spine. Exhaling, folding. Sweeping the fingertips all the way up to the sky. Let's clasp that right wrist and exhale left. Inhaling up, other side. And back up, arms release, and let's roll it out. In both directions. All right. Let's grab our trusty block. Bring the block between the thighs. So the position of your feet kind of creates you holding the block. So we're going to slowly lower down into chair pose. Arms can be up or fingers can be down depending on your shoulders. And you can feel the feet, you can feel the block, and your knees can't fall inward and you're fully supported here. Let's push all the way up to tall, hands to the heart. All right, so we're really amplifying how much, let's see, how firm we want our muscles to be in Utkatasana, chair pose. So oftentimes what happens is we're seeing our knees fall together, or we're rolling on our feet. This prevents that from happening, and it trains those nice deep stabilizer muscles to work a little more effectively. So we're going to pulse this pose as well. So inhaling, fingertips lift, exhale, chair, inhale up, exhale, hands to the heart. So that's the rhythm, and continuing that. Again, feel free to modify the arms if necessary. And you may notice that as you continue to move, you get a little bit deeper in your chair pose. Or maybe you don't. Let's take the block out so you can try it without the block. We're going to imitate what it's like to have the block, but we're going to bring our feet a little closer together. So now you have maybe 3 inches between the feet, so the heels are actually underneath the hips. And as you come down, you can leave the arms for later. As you come down, make sure the knees are tracking forward. The inner thighs by the knees are slightly pulled away from one another, and the shins are hugging toward one another. And now we're super supported here. And then we'll stand back up. So let's try that again, slowly coming down, feeling those shins hug toward one another, thighs slightly apart, and then back up. So this protects the knees. Now, if you feel like, wow, I want to go back to the block, go back to the block. If you feel good here, we're going to do 5 more of similar situation as before. So inhaling, arms up or not, exhaling, chair, inhaling up, hands to the heart, and continuing. Really focus on pushing through the feet as you stand up, because that builds your hamstring strength. Last one, we're gonna stay in chair pose. Hugging the shins toward one another, lifting through the chest, dropping the tailbone just a tiny bit, reaching and breathing. On the next inhale, standing up, clasping that right wrist. Exhale, left. Inhaling up, other side. Inhaling back up, arms release. And let's roll that out. All right. So now, let's go ahead and say a little happy birthday to Virginia, which I forgot to do earlier. Happy birthday, Virginia. Okay, so let's go ahead and come into triangle pose. We're going to utilize our block, and we're going to go about 75% of our flexibility. So right foot forward, left foot back, slight angle on that back foot. Nice active leg. So let me demonstrate really quickly. This is not an active leg. I am hanging out in the joint. I have nothing going on in my quad, and you can see perhaps that my knee is slightly rolled inward because I don't have any muscle action engaged. So how do we create muscle action? I am going to see how I did that? I went ahead and grabbed my quad right here, activated the quad. How did I do that activation? I gave a little bit of pressure down into the center of the heel and the big toe ball of the foot. And that lifts energy up into the leg, right? And now you can see my knee is tracking to the pinky toe side of the foot, and I actually have a little engagement here in the quad. And it's a soft hug. It's not a giant squeeze like that, right? We don't want to be over amplifying. We just want to be supporting these joints. All right, so that all being all happening, let's start to ease down. Take your time, because you're consistently reminding this hug to stay initiated. You're consistently opening into your 75% mode. 75% may be hand to the thigh. It may be hand to the shin. It may be hand to a tall block. It's all good. But let's not go beyond 75, because we're really focusing in on hugging the muscle to the bone. As you come down, you will find that you're now activating your hamstring a little bit more as well. So you have a situation where you can feel the quad in the front and the hamstring activated as well in the back. If you choose, you can bring the fingertips to the sky if that's a bonus move, or you can keep the hand on the hip. Holding on to your block, let's inhale up. All right, and let's walk it out. So for me, I definitely feel my hamstring, and I also feel a little bit in the calf. I feel like my calf was a little bit tight, so it got a little bit more open. All right, so we'll go to the other side. Lining up, internal rotation of that back leg, hands on the hips, reminding your leg to activate, so pressing through the big toe ball of the foot, back, moving back through the heel, feeling the knee start to open to the pinky toe side of the foot, and then we'll slowly descend to our 75% mode. And if you like, you can bring the fingertips to the sky. On the inhalation, we'll just stand up and we'll lock that in. So for me, I felt different things on each side. I felt that more in the hip and the pelvis than I did actually in the hamstring and the quad. So you may have had a similar situation. Wherever we're finding that we're a little less flexible, that's usually where we feel the most activity happening. Let's do a little limnoscot while we're standing here. And both directions. And then we'll step our feet in a little bit, standing up nice and tall. And let's come into tree pose. So right foot on top of left foot, or the calf, not the knee, remember, or all the way up into the inner thigh. Yeah, my pants are a little slick. And we're reaching out that right knee. We're lifting up through the belly. Hands can come to the heart. Shoulders are relaxed. Playing with your balance. Again, we don't want to have this standing knee locked. So you want to have a little bit of spring, right? So that you don't want to shove your kneecap back, because then all of a sudden it will not be feeling good later. And then as you exhale, you can release that foot down. Maybe roll the ankle of the standing foot. I always find it is a lot. And then we can move right over to the other side. Reaching out that left knee, lifting up nice and tall. And 2 more breaths. I know, I see some of us are managing the balance. And then we'll gently release. And let's do a little limnoscot again. With the feet wider than the hips, but not a wide-legged forward bend, we're going to fold into a forward bend. You can use the block if you want a little bit of space for your hands. You can bend the knees to get here, but let's fold into a forward bend. Being conscious that the knees are opening out toward the pinkies, not falling in toward one another. Again, you want to feel this in the body of the hamstring. If you start to feel it up higher by the booty, bend your knees a little bit more. Release the fingers to the block or to the floor, depending on what's available. And we're going to slowly sit down as if we were coming into chair until maybe the knees touch the armpits. And then we're going to slowly lift the legs towards straight. And we're going to bend the knees down toward the elbow, toward the armpits. And inhale, lift towards straight. Trying to maintain the softness in the upper body, making sure the knees aren't falling inward. One more. And then we'll just hang here. You can grab the elbows. Hands come to the hips. We'll lift halfway. And then we'll inhale all the way up. All right. And let's go ahead and kick that out. Whew, that felt good on the lower back. Let's go ahead and come down to a seated position. So you may want your blanket. And we're going to just come into Sukhasana. Everyone. So nice shins are over the arches of the feet. Let's start with the right foot, right leg in front. And just feel that tall spine. Go ahead and close the eyes. And feel the breath. We're still utilizing Ujjayi. But relax the forehead and the shoulders and the jaw. Feeling the breath. And then let's switch the feet. You can open the eyes or keep the eyes closed to do that. It's up to you. Now your left leg is in front of the right. Finding again the comfortable seat. And maybe it's a little easier now. Feeling the breath. Shoulders release away from the ears. Spine is tall. And then let's go ahead and open the eyes. Now, you can go back to side number 1 here if this is your favorite and accessible variation of fire log pose. If, however, you can come into fire log pose, you can climb off of your blanket. We'll start with the right foot on top of the left knee. Woo, I'm feeling tight. So take your time to get there. Again, or you're sitting up on your blanket. Or if you're like me, I have a little space here because my hips are pretty tight today. I'm gonna put the blanket underneath my knee to give me a little bit of support so that I can let the pose emerge. So whatever you think you need to coming into fire log pose, find that experience. Remember that left or that right foot is flexed, and so is the left foot underneath. All right. And as you sit here, you might find these little adjustments. You want the inner thighs rotating toward the floor, which allows the sitting bones to soften down a little bit easier. And we're just gonna sit here and let the pose reveal itself as we breathe. If you choose, you can start to come forward to the hands, shins to the ankle and the knee, or elbows to the ankle and the knee, whatever you choose. Hands to the floor, face to the mat. That's for those of us that are really flexible. And then gently sitting back up to unwind for a little walk here. And again, just taking your time. So as we drop into the pelvis, and in the pelvis, we hold a lot of emotion. So within that whole pelvic region is this depth of emotion. So when we start to open up the hips and the groin and the pelvis, you may have a sense of emotional release. That's pretty common, and we're kind of encouraging that. Can we drop down, allowing ourselves to feel supported, to experience some of the emotions that we may be hanging on to? So let's go for the other side, whatever side that is, so that the left leg is on top or in the front. And again, taking your time to support yourself as needed. Sitting up nice and tall, finding those little adjustments on the inner thighs. Closing the eyes. Taking your awareness into that deep bowl of the pelvis. Into that second chakra. Which represents the energetic of water. It's the ebb and the flow of life and emotion. You can begin to lean forward here, perhaps enhancing your connection to that deep bowl of the pelvis. And then we'll gently sit up to unwind for a little walk. So we're going to continue with really dropping into the second chakra. How can we continue to do that? Baddha Konasana is a great one because it really drops us into the first chakra, the root chakra, and then we can access deep belly, pelvis. So climb up on a blanket. Even if you can do Baddha Konasana on the floor with your legs down, climb up on the blanket because we want this to kind of be a more supportive, organic, nurturing experience, nurturing our emotions, nurturing our needs, being soft and kind to ourselves. So we're going to bring the feet into Baddha Konasana and adjusting as necessary. You can always climb up on a block if a block is called for. I'm kind of on the edge here, but I think I'm going to stick on the blanket. And we're just going to gently touch the feet. So again, this is going to be more of an organic experience. We're just resting the hands on the feet as a tactile experience. And we're finding that tall lift of the spine. As you find the tall lift of the spine, you may feel the knees start to open outward away from one another and just a little bit more of a stretch in the inner thighs. And as we're here, you can close the eyes and feel the breath and feel the base of the spine and the sitting bones really drawing into the experience of support of the earth. And we're going to start to exhale forward, whatever forward is, it might be an inch, and then inhale to sit back up. So we're pulsing our Baddha Konasana here, focusing in on the second chakra now, that place of rebirth, of our hopes and our dreams. As you come forward the next time, stay in that forward position. Allow your gaze to move to the second chakra, that space that's level with the reproductive organs. Seeing a silver crescent moon glistening on a still lake. As you inhale, you can sit back up. You can slide the hands under the knees to lift the knees together for a nice hug here. And then let's go ahead. Again, you may need your blanket, you may need a block. We're going to come into Gomukhasana, cow face. So left knee down, right leg comes across, right? Maybe the right leg is extended, and that's fine too. Maybe that right foot comes all the way back. And again, you want to have your knees stacked. If you're doing something like this, it's no bueno, right? You want to have your foot in a position where you're fully supported, and it may be up on a block or a blanket. Once you have arrived into your position, sit up nice and tall and just let the pelvis relax into the floor. You probably are feeling a little something in the outer edges of the hips. And you may find that you need to adjust as we sit here. Then we'll start to lean forward. And forward can be, I'm on my hands. I know I can take my chest to my thigh, but I'm taking my time. Reaching back through those sitting bones, closing the eyes, bringing your awareness again to the second chakra. That energy of water. And that energy represents the life force within the body, the blood that flows through the body, oxygenating all of our cells. And then gently sitting back up to unwind for a little walk. Yikes. Then we'll go ahead and move to the other side. Taking your time to get there. This side is always a little harder for me. Feeling down into that second chakra. Letting the ebb and flow of emotions rise and fall. No judgment. No need to analyze why, how, or when. Just allow the emotions to reveal themselves and perhaps gently pass. The mind remains calm and quiet, just witnessing our experience. Perhaps beginning to lean forward. And then slowly, gently sitting back up to take a little walk. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to get comfortable for meditation now. So we've really worked to get down into the pelvis and to open up the hips. If you feel like you need to do anything else before you move on to your blanket or your cushion, feel free to add that in. And maybe you want to grab your meditation shawl. Maybe you want to put socks on. Whatever it is, we're going to be here for a little bit of time, right? So you want to be comfortable. And you get to choose whatever you want for your seated position. Again, you can climb up on a chair if that is more comfortable. There are no rules here. You can accept that you're feeling comfortable and supported. And once you get there, you can close the eyes, settle down into those sitting bones, relax Ujjayi breath, and let the natural experience of your own breath reemerge. As the breath in its natural state reemerges, can you relax the face? And here we're going to find that Samavriti breath. With this variation of Samavriti, every aspect of the breath is going to be equal. So if you're inhaling for 4 counts, you're pausing for 4 counts after the inhale, you're exhaling for 4 counts, and you're pausing after the exhale for 4 counts. So every portion of the breath is equal. Let's start to find that. Again, pushing yourself in this experience is not the goal. It's about finding a supportive, soft, natural experience. So if your breath is 3 counts, then it's 3 counts. If it's 5, it's 5. Everybody is different, but be kind to yourself by choosing something that doesn't put you to the edge of your emotional capacity. If in any of the pauses you feel slightly panicked, you know that you're breathing too deeply, shorten the count of the breath and the pause. We want to feel supported, nurtured, and balanced.
after the next pause, after the exhale, return to your natural breath. Perhaps it feels more smooth and balanced. Perhaps the mind feels more at peace. Allow your internal gaze once again to move to that space of the second chakra. We feel the ebb and the flow of the breath, just as we feel the ebb and flow of life. The second chakra governs death and rebirth. We can reinvent our reality at any given moment, and we're fully supported to do so. Feel this deep, nurturing support of the energy of water, the soft, gentle hug of the mother. With that deep, energetic support of the earth beneath us. Bring the hands to join in Anjali Mudra at the heart. Feeling that deep sense of love and devotion. The energy of our Mother, Mother Earth, the energy of the universe and its guidance. We truly are held and supported and loved in our lives. Bowing to the divine essence, the mother in us all. Namaste.